My name is Karim from Sulia. I'm from Egypt. When President Obama spoke in Cairo, at Cairo University, on June 4th, 2009, I think you quoted him, he also said he would love to see a student from Kansas connect online with a student from Cairo and be able to see and speak to each other. This is specifically what we're doing at Sulia for 2 months, for a whole semester. So students engage in this sort of dialogue. From the administration's perspective now, a few months after that speech, what was the next step? I mean, after students engage in that dialogue, what would the administration like to see next? What ideally would happen next after the students engage and get to know each other and discuss the issues, humanize one another? What ideally happens next after they've done that?
So luckily there's no template for what you want to have happen out of the interchange, because then that's really staged and that's not organic and that doesn't make sense. So what I hope will happen and what we can see happen, you all know that these kinds of things happening, are 3 things. One is relationship building, that you cannot know what's going to lead from that. That's unbelievably important, and that's trust building and all that kind of stuff. 2 new ideas come out of the table. And where government can be helpful with that is when the ideas get percolated to a place where they need help to actually manifest. That we as government can say, here are the people we can bring to the table that you can't, to help actually activate those ideas and make them, make them grow. So I'd love to see a lot of seeds being planted out of the conversations that happen across dialogues, across cultures, so that we can actually see change. That's unbelievably important, as well as, obviously, trust building, which is really key. There's a hand up over here. Sorry, can I take, yeah.
Yeah, my name is Kingsley Bangwa from Nigeria. I work with young people on democracy and good governance. And I live in the city that crisis just erupted recently, and Secretary of State made a very strong statement condemning it. And around the country, there's loads of statements from religious leaders and all of that, and from world leaders also condemning it. But I wanted to ask, loads of time this crisis happened and there's loads of statements condemning it, and after condemning it, it's like everyone goes back to the table waiting for the next crisis to happen and all of that. I don't see an effort to reach out to young people that are involved. Recently we saw a letter that said Al-Qaeda is offering network to empower young people to protect their regions and all of that. And I read those statements, you get some counter statement, but there isn't some kind of action. And I'm wondering if there is some kind of deliberate statement or a push from the Office of Department of State to maybe encourage the embassies or USID to make an effort to reach out to young people, possibly to bring them together to engage. Sometimes I try to reach out to USAID and in Nigeria, and the kind of feedback you get is that possibly USAID works with some level of international organization and all of that. They don't work directly with the local groups, and yet the local youth groups can penetrate far. They are at the local level, and if you don't work with them, you don't capacitate them, then how do we reach with those issues? So maybe it's something you may have a perspective.
So 2 things for you. One, I'm going to talk to you offline about the particularities of USAID in Nigeria and what we can do on that piece. But I'm going to make the general, because nobody's going to, okay, I'll tell you offline. But on the bigger point of that next generation, that's exactly what we are trying to do. I am interested in hearing about what youth groups happen. Your point about something bad happens, and there's a one-off, and there's a statement that comes out of every government on the planet that condemns it, then what happens next? That's where you guys come in. What are you doing to mobilize? Look at Sisters Against Violent Extremism. Something bad happens. What Edith is trying to do is to activate her chapters around the world to actually make statements go beyond making statements when something bad happens. But it can't, again, that can't be a one-off. So how do you get this engine to keep going? To me, it is using technology space to actually make sure that that's happening. And you have people who are at a feverish pace saying, we will not rest until this issue is done. I think Dave's going to kill me if I take another question.
I know he is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's the last one.
I would like to make a remark on this remark you just made. So I will say Sisters Against Violent Extremism. And I think it's very important to get women involved in counterterrorism because they are so close to communities. They are really grassroots. You can't get more grassroots than women are across the world. But the events of 9/11, 7/7, they brought the world together. Sadly, they brought the world apart in the course of the events. So I do think we should, and this is an appeal to you, use the passion empower the skills which are in this room under the umbrella of the Youth Association to develop an integrated global response system, so that it's not safe alone, or I don't know, one or other organization, but we do it collectively. When terror strikes, that we do something immediately, that we connect and can respond to it immediately, that there are mechanisms in place, and I'm very sure you can do it, so we really rely on you to do it. Thank you.
All right.
My final thing is I'm on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you.